Hello everyone, this is Bricks Unlimited, and today I'll be reviewing the LEGO Marvel Miles Morales versus the Spot set. And this is a pretty awesome set, not only because it's one of the first Miles Morales Spider-Verse sets that we get, but it is also in line with this new Marvel Modular series that LEGO started doing, where you can combine a bunch of the buildings together via Technic pinholes. And it is such a cool thing to see because I know a lot of fans have been dreaming of having this kind of theme where you can put together all these different buildings, kind of like Lego City, but with the Marvel theme. You know, we saw the Daily Bugle with its sheer size, and kind of hoping that Lego would do something similar where they would have a bunch of buildings that you can put together all in one. So this was Lego's answer. It's a little smaller than I think a lot of people would like, but it is also still pretty cool, because otherwise then the sets would be a lot more expensive if you had, larger builds of the same kind of buildings. So, I don't hate this answer. I really do like it. And so the only thing I don't like is kind of the price range that some of these are priced out on, but at the end of the day, you can just wait for a sale. That's what I ended up doing with this set. So, you can't really go wrong with waiting for a sale unless you know for sure that a set is not going to go on sale. Then I would buy it at that point. But anyway, this is a pretty awesome set. You've got the NYPD police car with Miles' dad there. You've got the Spot. You've got Gwen Stacy's Ghost Spider, as well as the Miles Morales minifigure, along with the deli slash grocery display building. So without further ado, let's get into the build. So before diving into the build itself, I figured it'd make the most sense to look at the box art up close. So we've got the Across the Spider-Verse logo on the top right, with Miles right underneath that, as well as the Marvel logo on the left, with the classic sort of white comic panel behind the logos of Lego and Marvel. And then you've got the scenes of Spider-Gwen and Miles taking down the Spot, robbing an ATM machine, with Miles' dad in the cop car chasing the Spot as well. On the back of the box, you'll find the interior, or the backside of the deli market, showing Miles and Gwen unmasked, with the Spot going through a wormhole, as well as Miles' dad trying to capture him. The bottom right shows some of the play features of the set, like where you can web up the Spot with the giant web piece, as well as pushing the ATM forward and knocking it over. Alright, so here's the set completely built. It's honestly a little smaller than I imagined it would be, and I feel like the box kind of advertises it to be a little bit bigger, but maybe that's just a matter of perspective. But other than that, honestly, it looks really great. I love all the different signage that's all around the deli and grocery store. It's really cool. I do wish that a lot of these parts were printed though, because it's hard to get a lot of these parts to line up correctly, especially the smaller stickers that are below the big signs were very difficult, and you could probably see on camera that it was not lined up properly because, again, it's a sticker, so it's hard to get all of them to, be aligned the same way, and it looks linear throughout the entire build. So that's kind of a little nitpick, I guess, of, the sticker placement and all that. And there were a lot of stickers, surprisingly, in this set. I was not expecting the amount of stickers that were here. The ATM is a sticker. Basically anything you see that has, signage of any kind. The deli sign that's pointing into the store is a sticker as well. So, that's one thing to keep in mind if you're planning on getting the set. Just be wary of that and make sure to carefully place your stickers so that they don't end up being crooked or misaligned. So honestly, this is awesome. I love also the giant web piece that they've been including in all of these different mini modular sets. It's such an easy, like, fun play feature where you can just end up trapping whoever the villain is of your set and just tying them up like this. And it's very simple and fun for kids, and it's also nice for displayability as well. And there goes the spot. But anyway, you've got Spider-Gwen here on this new web piece that they've been using as well in these mini modular sets. And I just love this piece because it just makes it gives it a more animated swinging look, if that makes sense. With the old rope piece, it had that kind of effect, but I feel like with this rope it's even more so, because I think it's a little longer than the rope piece that they typically use. So, it has more range, it has more reach of how far you can put your minifigure. So if you wanted Spider-Gwen stretching all the way, across the building, then you can do that. And it's also just the material, I think, because the old rope piece actually had real rope. This is, like, I think fully rubberized, so it gives it that feel of, having it actually be, your character swing around. So I think that's a really neat little touch that they've added in almost all of these sets, which I find really cool. And then we've got this little fridge up front, the little fridge with ice in it. It's kind of hard to pull out the door because it'll be a little stiff as you open it. But as you can see, there's some little trans blue slopes in there just to give the effect of the ice. There is like a play feature, I think, which allows you to push forward the ATM on the back, but we'll get to that momentarily. I love the entryway as well of the deli and grocery store, because it's kind of at an angle, and I love the fact that they did that kind of on purpose so that it makes it, able to be oriented however you like in the mini modular, city that you might build. So, it gives it that variability in how you can display it. But this is really cool. There's a lot of paneling and windows around the front. And then moving on back, there's kind of a lot going on, not entirely. They're on top of these walls are like the wormholes that the Spot uses. So grabbing our Spot minifigure once again, you can have him kind of jumping through these wormholes and giving the illusion that he's jumping through them. So that's another nice, neat play feature that they've integrated that's pretty easy to have him maneuver around, because there's two different wormholes, so you can have him either going here, or you can even place him on here and make him look like he's jumping out of the wall. So I think that's really awesome. The fact that they were able to cram in another nice play feature in such a small space is really cool. And then also you have the ATM, and so that front piece that is in front of the fridge up front, the ice box, you can push that grill forward and have the ATM fall forward. So you can have the Spot taking away that ATM and kind of create some story behind that for kids' playability, which is cool. Also, a couple more stickers in here. You got the special offer and the $2 donuts. So that's pretty awesome. A lot of store items on the shelves. You got some popcorn there and some juice, and then everything else is kind of just up to your interpretation or imagination or whatnot. You've got a screen up here, and then obviously the ATM is a sticker, and you've got also, weirdly, this game over screen here. I'm not entirely sure what the placement behind that really means, because it's a cash register. So, I don't know, maybe the cash register guy is playing some video games in his time off during his lunch break or something. I don't know. But either way, still a cool sticker. It was kind of hard to align. As you can see, it was a little misaligned on my part, but still really nice. And, you know, again, with the little space that they had to work with, I'm genuinely surprised how much they were able to cram in here. So you've got more stickers along the side as well, with the coffee and tea and the sandwiches, and then another grocery sign there. So all in all, great setup. We'll take a look at the minifigures here, starting with Miles. You've got his newer suit, which is really nice. I love the dotted detail on the mask there. It's kind of hard to see it here in this light, but it's definitely there. It's just very dark. It blends in with the black, I think, as well as the torso print, which looks really nice. I think it also has a little bit of that dotted printing, or it's just more blended in. But either way, really awesome figure. It does come with the heads that you can swap out for the actual characters. Like you have the Miles Morales head and hair. I don't know where that went right now, so I can't exactly show, you know, swapping it out, but it's included in the set, so that's pretty nice. As well as Spider-Gwen, and she comes with the same thing. And honestly, I think they did a better job having the Miles head and hair, and I'll probably try to show it, maybe edit it on screen if I can, but the Miles head and hair was done a lot better. The Spider-Gwen was a little lackluster, and she's also included in the Oscorp Tower. So it kind of feels a little repetitive, and I mean, it makes sense, obviously, for her to be in this set, but, you know, I feel like a lot more could have been done here, and they definitely delivered with her CMF version, but I just kind of wish that level of care was put into this minifigure for the set specifically, because, you know, it should be worthwhile to have a figure like that in here. So, and the hair was not really super accurate to the movie either that she came with, nor was the face print. So, you know, kind of an okay figure there. And then kind of the star, I think, of this set is the Spot. And he's got great detailing. Like, I love, like, just the little, like, layers, and, like, you know, you can tell that, like, there was, like, a lot of thought put into, like, how the wormholes were gonna look, and then, like, kind of like the belly detailing along the torso going into the hips. So this is really awesome. And then also along the cheekbones too, as well, to give it that, like, effect that it's sinking in. And you got some more, like, splotches of black on the back of the torso as well. So really great figure there. And then I almost forgot, there's Officer Jefferson in the cop car, which I haven't really talked much about, but he's also a great figure that, you know, just made a lot of sense to be included in this set. He's got the gold glasses. I'm sorry, the lighting's not great. It's kind of hard to look at the face print, but he's got his gold glasses, he's got his stash, and then also the vest with the walkie-talkie and the badge, as well as the belt along the vest as well. And then on the back, it's kind of a similar thing, just with the giant badge along the back, and then the belt has another, like, talking device. So really great fig. Okay, there you go. You get a better look now without the hat. So there's a better look. And I'm sorry, I'll get better at these reviews as I go along, but this is kind of like, you know, one of the first as far as reviews go for me. So you'll have to bear with me. But we'll take a look at the cop car. It's really nice, really nicely built. It's got like a very classic sort of like cop car look to it, which is really nice. And it's also just completely accurate to the movie, how, you know, this car is portrayed. So no complaints there. I love the coloring of it as well, with the baby blue along the white. So just really awesome all around. The stickers on here are on both sides, so you would just have to make sure to, you know, sticker them on both sides. But also the sirens on top, the lights look really awesome. Like, you know, it's such a simple build, but it comes across like so well for some reason, as well as the antenna. It just completely adds to the look and completes it in my eyes. So just really awesome stuff here. It looks like you can only fit one minifigure in here, which is fine because you only get one minifigure to fill the car anyway. But, you know, I think this would also go really well with the Daily Bugle taxi if you have that set. So if you were to ever add the Daily Bugle somehow in your modular city, even though it's not a modular set, I think that would still be a really nice addition to have both the PDNY police car alongside a taxi to make it feel more like a city. So yeah. And yeah, that's the entire set. I can probably just do a quick little segment showing the set combined with another mini modular set really quick. So we'll get into that now. All right, so for the sake of showing how each building can be oriented, I've removed all of the different accessories and minifigures and such from the buildings so that you can have a clear look at how these buildings can be moved around and put together in order for you to have the best display for your mini modular city. So for right now, I'm just using Peter Parker's apartment because that's what I have built. I know there's other sets like the Oscorp Tower, which I actually do have and I'll build and do a review on very soon. And let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see me do a review on Peter Parker's apartment now that I already have it built, and that would just be an easy review to do. So yeah, without further ado, let's just check out some of the orientations you can have this in. So for starters, obviously you have the peg connector on the side, specifically on the left side. So you can have it connect to Peter Parker's apartment directly to the side, and this is how it would look. It looks relatively good, you know. I think there's definitely better like orientations for Peter Parker's apartment, but this is also not bad either. Like if you really wanted to just have it this way, and it looks good, especially from the side view, like as it looks like a block, you know, you're walking past a block. I think it looks nice in that way, but there's some downsides to it. You're gonna be blocking the nice sticker of the Daily Bugle from Peter Parker's apartment, so you wouldn't be able to see it in full. So, you know, there's kind of some takeaway with that, and really it does feel like Peter Parker's apartment is built to be like a building that you put on top of another one as opposed to having it next to another one, just because of something like that where you can't see the full sticker. But if you really, really wanted to, then yes, you could technically have it on the side of a building. So that is the first orientation, is just having it on the side. And then the next orientation is actually having it be a corner shop, which honestly, I think looks really cool. And this is what I meant earlier about having the door be like at an angle, because it makes sense for it to be a corner store, when you have the door at an angle like this, and it makes everything look really nice. Obviously, it'll look a little incomplete just because I'm not showcasing this as a full city with other buildings attached to it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think it still looks really good, even if you're just starting out with this modular series. And it's subtle also. And I mean, maybe you could even find a way to have this oriented where you can like flip this piece and then just have it flipped around so that it shows the sign of the deli being pointed this way. And obviously you kind of can't really have the arrow point to the left. Anyway, that is the second orientation that you can have it in, with, you know, just one building as an example, just showcasing how this mini modular thing works. So taking that apart, there is one more orientation which I think looks really good, and there's a couple of steps to this, and I'll show you in just a second. But having it to where you can place it on top of the deli and grocery market is probably the best way to do it. And it doesn't have to be on top of the deli and grocery market specifically, but, you know, giving that apartment more height, I think makes it look really nice. The other step to this is that there is, on the top, there's this gate, and I learned this from someone. There's this gate on top that you can disconnect, that's usually on these jumper plates up here, that you can place in front of the red door that leads into his apartment and have it be a gate where it's basically like a balcony, and then you just have it as like a second floor or a third floor. So I think that is incredible that they had thought about doing that, so that you can have it oriented on top of another building, and it actually makes it look like it makes sense. So really, really cool little detail there. So if you ever think about having it be the second floor, just remember to put that balcony up there to add that little extra bit of detail. But yeah, this just makes so much sense. I think, you know, since there's so many tall buildings as well, that this kind of makes the most sense to have another kind of, you know, tall building, so that it's not like, you know, oh, you have the deli and grocery and then there's nothing on top, and it's, you know, Peter Parker's apartment right next to it, and then it's kind of the same height. So like the fact that you're able to stack on to these buildings and have them be like, you know, taller, sort of to match these other sets that are coming out, like the Bugle and the set with Hulk from Brand New Day, is really nice. So that is the third and final orientation for the combination of the deli and grocery market and the Peter Parker's apartment. So I think, in my opinion, this is the best looking one, but, you know, it's honestly up to you guys. You guys can have it oriented any way you like, any of those three ways. And then obviously there's going to be even more ways once you have more buildings to choose from. So, you know, you have a lot of freedom and, you know, room to play around with which version of these different like combinations you like best. Absolutely loving these mini modular sets, and this is really something that you can incorporate into any set that you know, previously owned, or, you know, Lego City sets in general kind of have that new modular experience. So, you know, keep that in mind. This is not something difficult that you can add to a set. It's literally just the anti-peg, and then you have like the pegs that are attached on the other end, and that's literally all you need. So can't really lose with this type of, you know, system. Like, it's just so awesome, and I really wish they had done this sooner. I know Lego City's been doing it a while, and, you know, to see it now in Marvel, I think it's been really well received from what I can understand, and it's something that I really like and is really nice for display and having all the, I mean, right now it doesn't look great just because there's no minifigures on display or anything, but when you put all of your minifigures on the display and you have it looking nice and neat, then that's the way that you want it to look. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments if you've gotten any of these new Marvel modular sets. And again, comment down below if you want me to review Peter Parker's apartment. I'm definitely going to review the Oscorp Tower. So, you know, if you want me to do the trifecta of the modular series, then let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next one.